Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to a game of throws in World of Warships, Season 5, Episode 3, I believe, with Rear Admiral Jingles. This is going to be a really difficult episode of a game of throws for me to do, because not only is it one of the most horrible throws I have ever seen in World of Warships, but the star of today's show, Anamitro here, in the Tier 10 US Navy battleship, the USS Montana, is at least partially responsible for the throw. Although by no means fully responsible. Oh no. Not even slightly. No, what you're going to see today is very much a team effort. So, before you all go crazy in the comments, just remember, he never claims to be the world's greatest player. He actually sent this in, which was kind of brave of him. Not just because it was a colossal throw, but also this is actually the best result he's ever had in the USS Montana. He doesn't have that many games played in it. In fact, he's got very few games played at Tier 10 at all. I think he said this was only his 57th Tier 10 battle, and only something like the 12th game he's ever played in the Montana. So I guess I'm just saying, go easy on him in the comments. I mean, try to be constructive. I'm going to do my best to do that here. I mean, by all means, yell and scream at the screen, because I absolutely was the first time I watched this battle, and I'm probably going to be doing it here in the video as well. But at least try, if you have any criticism, and I know you will, because there's a lot to criticize, but do try to at least make it constructive. And I'll kick things off with... well, he really needs to be a bit more aggressive when it comes to taking shots. You'll see what I'm talking about. In fact, you'll see what I'm talking about very, very quickly. There's the enemy Libertad. Beautiful broadside target. He's got 12 16-inch guns loaded with armor piercing. You're spotted by aircraft anyway. You're not losing anything by firing. Why are you not taking the shot? At the start of the battle, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of things in chat. First, one of the team was asking the carrier, this is an arms race battle in case it wasn't obvious, there's a carrier on each side, although Anamitro's team have managed to sneak an extra one in, they have a Kearsarge. But there's a division of 3 players on the team, including the Yamato and the Daring, and at the beginning of the battle, the guy in the Daring was asking the friendly carrier to please spot the enemy CV, because apparently the person playing the Yamato has a PhD in sniping carriers. Now, you're going to see absolutely no evidence whatsoever of that in this battle, but the Daring player was also having a good chuckle at the fact that the enemy Wisconsin was shooting the friendly carrier, the Essex. And here again, Anamitro, he's got shots. The guns, I mean, of course the guns are loaded. He hasn't fired them yet. But he's just not taking them. I really don't understand why. I mean, this is the Montana. It's got 12 16-inch guns and American super heavy armor-piercing shells. We're nearly 3 minutes into the battle now and he hasn't fired at anything yet. He also keeps dithering about which target to shoot at, even though he's not shooting at any of them. And that dithering is costing him his target lock. Okay, here we go. We're now exactly 3 minutes in and he's just taken his first shot. Shots out at the North Carolina, and his aim is good, but the North Carolina is reacting and turning away. I mean, that wasn't a bad shot. It's just that the North Carolina reacted defensively against it. So 3 minutes in, he's taken his first shot, and they've all missed, although not through any fault of his own. Also, the Yamato in the division just reported in chat that they had actually hit the enemy carrier for 20,000 damage. So, I don't know. I mean, when you see what that Yamato does at the end of the battle. But it turns out they are at least good at sniping carriers. So, no casualties yet. And this, remember, is an arms race battle. So, a quick explanation of arms race, because this is actually going to be quite important for those of you who aren't familiar with how an arms race battle works, because it's very different to domination or standard battle. And why are you not taking the shots at the Smolensk? What? Well, I mean, the Smolensk is one of those ships that's infamous for never taking anything but over-penetrations, particularly from 16-inch armor-piercing shells. But that's no reason to not take the shot. Oh, then again, I mean, if you've got a better target to shoot at, like the Libertad over there, where you are less likely to just over-penetrate, fair enough. We are now 4.5 minutes into the battle. We're nearly a quarter of the way through, and I mean, it was a fairly decent hit on the Libertad. Nearly 11,000 damage. But that's the first damage he's done in this battle. And he really should have done more by now. And now there's the Smolensk. And actually, if you're going to shoot at a Smolensk in a battleship with armor piercing, do it when it's angled. Because there's less chance that the shells are going to over-penetrate. They're going to hit it, travel down the length of the ship, arm and explode inside. Like that. That's how you get a citadel on a Smolensk. So, okay. Things are starting to move along now. Good. It took him a while to get into his stride, but, you know, he's there now. And he's equalised the kills. Both teams have suffered 2 casualties. Oh yeah, I was explaining the difference between arms race and standard battle and domination mode. So, again, for the benefit of those of you who aren't familiar with the concepts involved, in arms race, you can see there are a number of different buffs scattered around the map. And if somebody can get into those buff circles while they're active, they can pick up a number of different benefits for their team, such as a trickle heal that's active throughout the duration of the rest of the battle. And all of these buffs stack. You know, you can get damage buffs, you can get hit point buffs. They're all good things. But what arms race does not have are capture points. At least not at first. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is going to hurt. Again, his aim is good. And he couldn't ask for a better target. Honestly, I think he was robbed. But still, a very respectable 21,000 damage against the Libertad. So yes, arms race and capture circles. There is no capture point in arms race at the start of the battle. About halfway through, a single capture point will appear in the middle of the map. Whoever can take that capture point has basically won, because your team then starts getting 10 points every 3 seconds, and it does not take long for you to reach 1,000 points and win. The trick, however, is that that capture point shrinks over time, which forces you into closer and closer proximity with the enemy team if you're going to try to take that capture circle. Now, this is going to be very important for later on when that capture circle does eventually appear. At the moment, the match is very even. Both teams have 3 kills. Both teams have 440 points. Both teams have collected 4 levels of buffs. I mean, there's nothing in it at the moment. The capture point is about to appear, however. And Anamitro's team are going to be at a slight disadvantage there because of their 3 casualties. 2 are destroyers. They only have 1 destroyer remaining. The enemy team have only lost 1 destroyer. And so with 2 remaining, they're going to have a slight advantage. Honestly, it just depends on how good the destroyer captains are and how little attention the enemy carrier is paying. There it is. Oh, we're going to get some shots out here. I think he did still have target lock on the carrier before it disappeared into it's an Essex, so it's dropping its own. Yeah, he's got it. Nice. Okay, beautiful. Enemy carrier eliminated, and once again, kills equalised. Now, he's doing 2 things here. He's noticed that one of the enemy destroyers is just 5 kilometres away on the other side of an island, so he's slowing and turning away. And also, he saw the North Carolina turning away, so he adjusted his aim in order to take that into account. Yep, sure enough, there's that destroyer. Now, hopefully, this manoeuvre, and yeah, he's dodged the torpedoes. Because obvious torpedoes are obvious. Looking for shots at the Jean Bart now. The team have just suffered another casualty, however, but they're still ahead. This isn't bad. He's got some shots out. And again, you know, he's done more damage to the Jean Bart than the Jean Bart did to him. The secondaries are still blazing away, which clearly means that Alvaro de Bazan is still within range. Oh, there's the North Carolina. Yeah, this is absolutely the right target to go for, because this should be a kill. In fact, yeah, there's no way that is not killing the North Carolina. Nice. Okay, kill number 3. Friendly torpedoes there. Probably from the Daring, not aimed at Anamitro, probably aimed at the Alvaro de Bazan that bypassed it. Now that Jean Bart is in a lot of trouble. Because it's not just Anamitro here in the Montana, there's a Sovietsky Soyuz right behind him. And true, all of the Jean Bart's guns are located in the bows, so it can bring 8 to bear on Anamitro, and he can only bring 6 of his to bear on it. And Anamitro is not dumb enough to swing the ship around in order to get the rear turrets firing and give the Jean Bart a chance of citadeling and killing him. The Jean Bart's going for a ram. Anamitro going for the Jean Bart's turrets, although he doesn't knock them out, but, you know, good to see. He's clearly thinking about this, and he's clearly also just realised that the Jean Bart is going to try to ram him. So he's killing the throttle and trying to manoeuvre out of the way. I mean, this is definitely the Jean Bart's only chance, because he's not surviving this. He's getting crossfired. He's got 2 battleships in front of him. He's shooting at the Sovietsky Soyuz and thinks that he's going to ram and kill Anamitro. And he tried, but Anamitro saw it coming. There's kill number 4. You know, it was the good decision-making process. I do have to give him that. And there's the Alvaro de Bazan. It's closing in on the Daring. It's killed the Daring. Daring's got torpedoes out. Shots out from the rear 16-inch turrets. And boom, headshot. There's kill number 5, the Kraken Unleashed. Okay. The enemy team do have somebody in the cap circle. Well, they did. I think it might be the Hindenburg. The Wisconsin is on extremely low health. And the team do have a 1-kill advantage, so if they could take that... I mean, he has to be the priority target now, because he's an easy kill. And he is getting shot at by the Hindenburg and the Yamato up to the north. But they are shooting back, not just the Wisconsin, but also the enemy Yamato. And the friendly Hindenburg is spotted and on extremely low health. Yep, taken out by the enemy Yamato. And there's the enemy Hindenburg. It is inside the cap circle. Okay, so this guy definitely needs to either be killed, reset, or chased out of the cap. So shots out at the Hindenburg, and they're looking pretty good. Yeah, that was disappointing. I mean, the aim was good. It's just that the result wasn't. Somebody had better luck, though. Clapped about a quarter of the Hindenburg's health off. So he's making himself scarce. He would definitely have had a bit more success there if he'd fired the high explosive rather than the armor piercing, but, you know, you unload with whatever you happen to have loaded at the time. Meanwhile, in chat, the friendly Daring, who died a few minutes ago, is actually providing some solid advice, as well as a bit of encouragement. He's saying, come on team, we've got this. He's saying, Montana, stop broadsiding. He's not referring to Anamitro, by the way. That's the other Montana, about 12 kilometres up to the northwest, who is giving broadside, or was giving broadside, to a Yamato and a Wisconsin. But it is here where Anamitro really screws up. The Hindenburg knows he's coming. And the Hindenburg has popped its hydro and now knows exactly where he is. And the Hindenburg has torpedoes, and you better believe he's in torpedo range. It's got some very, very nasty torpedoes, and it's got a lot of them, 2 launchers on each side. Now, again, to his credit, Anamitro realises this, and he's trying to stop. The throttle's in full reverse, but the thing is, the Montana's a really, really big ship. It takes a while to slow down. And that, of course, is exactly what the Hindenburg is counting on. 5 torpedoes. Not enough to kill him. So, he survived, but now everything's on cooldown. He's still hydroed. The Hindenburg still knows exactly where he is. And the Hindenburg has another 2 torpedo launchers on the other side. The cheerleader in the Daring in chat is busy railing at the Sovietsky Soyuz for following down the exact same torpedo death alley that Anamitro has just found himself in. He's speeding up now because he knows he needs to kill that Hindenburg before it can turn around and get the torpedoes. Oh no. Oh yeah, there are definitely torpedoes coming, and he isn't able to kill the Hindenburg. I mean, he scored a citadel, he nearly killed him. He's knocked out a torpedo launcher, but way too late because they're already on the way. And the cheerleader in the Daring in chat is yelling at him, torpedoes, he's torped you, turn in, angle. I mean, he's doing it. He knows what's coming. He's doing the best he can, but he's done now. The torpedo didn't kill him, but he is burning. He's managed to take the Hindenburg out with him with damage control on cooldown. The fire was always going to kill him. So that's 6 kills and 184,000 damage for Anamitro in the USS Montana. This, by the way, is the best game he's ever played in the Montana. Wasn't perfect. He definitely could have stood to be a bit more aggressive with his shots at the start. I mean, we were 4 minutes into the battle before he actually scored his first hit after, I think, only firing his guns for the second time. And he should not have gotten taken out by the Hindenburg. That was avoidable. To be fair, though, he saw it coming, and he did try to avoid it. Not just once, but twice. It's just that it's like he can see what's coming, but he doesn't realise until it's just a little bit too late. Meanwhile, check out the ricochets on the ass end of the surviving friendly Yamato here. Hang on, wait for it. You see that? But anyway, 6 kills, 184,000 damage. Best game he's ever played in the Montana. Here's where the real throw begins. The other friendly Montana did just sink the enemy Izumo, so it's 3 against 2, and the friendly Sovietsky Soyuz is now flipping that cap. Meanwhile, the cheerleader in the Daring is begging him to not go any further into that cap circle, because the Wisconsin's managed to recover about 24,000 health. And the Sovietsky Soyuz can sit inside the perimeter of the cap circle without going any further in and exposing broadside to the Wisconsin and the Yamato. And the Daring is begging him in chat to just keep doing exactly that. And here's the Soviet. Why? Why would you do this? The Daring was there in chat. Dude, stop going forward. Too late. Okay, I mean, I'm trying to rationalise the Sovietsky Soyuz's thought processes here, because the Wisconsin is now in the cap circle with him. So they do need to kill the Wisconsin in order to flip this cap. And that will, of course, just leave the enemy Yamato. And the Wisconsin is giving beautiful amounts of broadside to the Sovietsky Soyuz, who has sunk him. Comrade Battleship here, however, is now 100% committed. I mean, he can't turn around and duck back into the channel that he used to enter this central area. And there ain't nobody, with the possible exception of the friendly Yamato, who's in a position to help him. The friendly Yamato is taking shots, but I mean, after running away from the Wisconsin, the Izumo, and that Yamato, it's now so far out of position. And while that is a Yamato, and those are 18.1-inch guns, the Sovietsky Soyuz is a tough ship, and there is a way out here for him, and if he hasn't realised it, the cheerleader in the Daring is prompting him in chat. Just ram the Yamato. So he starts slowing down instead. What are you doing? I think he might actually be reversing. Meanwhile, the friendly Yamato is still humping the map border, and then the other Montana, look at this. What? Why? His guns aren't even pointing at the enemy Yamato. Well, the Sovietsky Soyuz chose to zig when he should have zagged, and so, yeah. He's dead. But what I think is going on with this Montana, and it's the only logical explanation that I can come up with. While the Daring has been offering good advice in chat, he's been making some good calls, and if the rest of the team had been paying attention to him, they would have probably already won. But he's also being a toxic arsehole about it. And I often say, if you've got nothing good to say about your team in chat, then just shut up. Keep your opinions to yourself, because bitching at them is not going to make them suddenly start playing better. I mean, you can understand the Daring's frustration, and you can even sympathise with it, but the way that he is offering his advice seems calculated just to piss off the maximum number of people possible. And what I think is actually happening here, as this Montana still doesn't have his guns pointing at the Yamato, and is about to sail out and get himself spotted, while giving broadside to the Yamato's 18-inch guns, when he only has 23,000 hit points, I actually believe that the Montana is so sick to death of listening to this Daring that he's deliberately throwing the game just to piss the Daring off even more. Yep. Or it could be that he just went AFK. Either is, of course, possible. But, well, venting your spleen at your team in chat, it might make you feel better, but it is definitely not going to make them suddenly start playing better, and can have the exact opposite effect, which is what I think happened there with the Montana. Meanwhile, the friendly Yamato has finally disengaged themselves from the map border, but the enemy Yamato, I mean, there isn't time for the enemy Yamato to take the central cap now. There's less than a minute of the battle remaining. But it's smart enough to know that it doesn't need to. It's ahead on points. It just has to stay alive for the next 10 seconds, and so it's abandoned the cap, and it's doing exactly that. And with this guy having just disengaged from the map border, there is absolutely nothing they can do to prevent the enemy team from winning on points. Now, of course, I'm just speculating here. I don't know exactly what happened with the second Montana. It's entirely possible that he just had to go AFK at the worst possible moment, but I kind of prefer my theory. The Montana got so sick and tired. But I mean, the last 5 minutes of chat in that battle was just the daring, constantly bitching at the rest of his team. And I believe that the Montana got so sick of it that he just thought, okay, screw you, let's see how you like this, and deliberately got himself killed by the Yamato. Am I right? Am I wrong? Was he just really, really bad? Or did he go AFK at the worst possible moment? You be the judge. Either way, that's 6 kills, nearly 200,000 damage, and 1,750 base experience on a defeat for enemy Tro in the best game he has ever had in the USS Montana. And it's on an episode of A Game of Throws. Man, that's gotta suck. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.